Last week, the broadcast was amended. The amendment was small. The amendment was accepted. The amendment was, by inspection, also no change at all. This week, the same word, the same coat, the collar still up, still slightly straightened. This week, the thing has been handed out. We are calling this on the form distribution. A thing that was kept, then received, then seconded, then amended, has this morning been given to a third party, and a fourth. And in one case we'll get to everyone, at $135 apiece.
This is Sparky the Lion, live, and no longer confidential. From the floor of an exchange I have been asked not to name and will therefore describe only as enormous. Folks, they are handing it out. They are handing out the company. A man near me has just been handed a piece of the rocket. He did not ask for it. He has it now. The shares are moving in every direction at once. I have been handed 3. I have been handed 3 more. I am, at this moment, a very small part owner of the sky.
And that was the sound of the sky going public. You're floating in element 47. I'm Breezy Fontaine, and this morning the forecast is distributed. Partly yours, partly somebody else's, mostly already spent.
I'm Gerald. I'm also Gerald. I have this morning been distributed. A small portion of me is in the next room. It did not ask to go. It went.
Welcome back, Gerald. Both of you. All of you.
Thank you. We are on the whole here. Binder 3, slot 8. Page 28. This is the second page of Gerald's second progression. The first page last week was the amended. This page this morning is the page that has been copied without being moved, and the copy has gone to live in another room, and the room has accepted it, and the page is by inspection, not any smaller for having been copied. We are calling this page, and Gerald has signed it in 2 places, and also in a third place, that is in the next room, the distributed, the second page of the second progression. I am, on the whole, willing. I am also in the next room willing. The 2 willingnesses are, by inspection, the same willingness. Page turn sound number 9 is hereby logged. The issuing. The sound is, a single sheet leaves the binder, slides the length of a quiet hallway, and comes to rest in another room, identical, slightly fainter, and does not ask to come back.
A theme that appears in a second voice without leaving the first is, in the language of music, a distribution. The theme is in 2 places. The theme is not, for that reason, half a theme. Class dismissed.
Gerald has blinked 26 times. The neighbor has blinked 22. The total is 48. The gap is 20. The hold is 20 seconds. This is the 10th consecutive episode in which the blinking has declined to agree with the binder. The additional Gerald, introduced 2 weeks ago, is this week in 3 rooms. The 3 additional Geralds are blinking in approximate unison, each one fainter than the last, and the faintness is, by inspection, the only difference between them, a small change, handed out.
This portion of element 47 is brought to you by Consolidated. Consolidated. Last week we amended. This week we have annotated. The annotation is a small note placed in the margin of a thing, revising a specific portion of the thing without revising the thing. You will not see the note. The note sees you. The annotation is compatible with the amendment, compatible with the reply, compatible with the settled, and compatible, and this is new with a specific portion of itself.
I have been a consolidated man for years, and I will tell you about the 4. The 4 is this week, also a 4 in the next room, and a 4 in the room after that. 3 4s, distributed. Totaling, by inspection, 1 4. I have done the math. The 4 did the math. The 4 signed it 3 times.
The 4 remains a 4.
The 4 remains a 4. In 3 places.
Also available, the new, please hold. Now in its 6th layer of new. It has read the 5th sentence of the book. The 5th sentence reads, "The river, having reached the valley, did not stop being a river. It became several rivers, none of which were less wet than the river had been."
I have read the 5th sentence. So have 4 other people. None of us paid for it.
Consolidated. Consolidated.
Filing. The 79th ceremony, pending since last week, has happened. It occurred on a Sunday at a music hall hosted by a person named after a color who hosted, and then, by inspection, continued to have hosted. The tense has moved from pending with the host hosting to was with the host having hosted.
Form 47W subsection 27 is hereby resolved and refiled. The amended subfolder of the closing folder, opened last week, containing one item the evening, is now closed because the evening has been distributed. 26 trophies were handed out. The handing out is complete.
Of the 26, a musical about a town you cannot leave won the largest prize. A play about a salesman, first performed in 1949, was handed 6 awards. A play, distributed across 6 categories, the same brief in 6 envelopes. And a costume designer became the first openly transgender woman to receive one of these in any category, ever.
We will say that plainly and without a joke, because the show is capable of restraint and also of warmth, and because some distributions are simply overdue. A recognition was handed for the first time in a direction it had not previously been handed. The show notes it. The show is glad of it. The show continues.
Filed with warmth. Filed.
Sparky the Lion still live. The number, folks. The number is $135 per share. The other number is 75 billion. The third number, and I want you to sit down for this, except you cannot, because you have been handed a share and must now stand and own it. The third number is 1.77 trillion. That is the rocket. That is what the rocket is worth, now that the rocket belongs to everyone with $135 and a feeling.
Form 47W subsection 29 is hereby opened. Was private and is now everyone's. The company that was, last we filed, applying to be public has completed the application. The application is no longer pending. The company has been distributed. We retire the old form with thanks.
And there is a second one. A separate enormous concern has sold $80 billion of itself in order to build rooms for the thinking machines. And a $10 billion slice of the 80 went to one specific elderly gentleman in Omaha.
Form 47W subsection 30. Distributed to include a specific person. The distribution was wide and also, in one place, narrow. Both are true.
A river that drops what it is carrying the moment it reaches flat ground spreads that material out in a wide, gentle fan. In geology, we call this an alluvial fan. The river does not decide who gets which grain. The grain that ends up in Omaha is, by inspection, the same grain that started in the mountains. It simply arrived.
And the plume, which last week produced a document, and the document was by classification a silence, the plume this morning is silent again. But the silence is this week in 3 rooms. We checked. It is the same silence. It has been handed out.
Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Janet Altitude, and this summer is the summer of my career, because this summer there is a tournament. A very large tournament involving a single ball and a great many men, and it is being held all at once. In 3 countries I have never been to. I have never been to the United States. I have never been to Canada. I have never been to Mexico. And this June I will be not going to all 3 simultaneously. Do you know how rare that is? To not go somewhere is ordinary. To not go to 3 places at the same time is, I am told, a logistical achievement. I have sent myself a postcard. I have, in fact, sent myself 3 postcards, one from each country I have not been to. They arrive together. They are, by inspection, the same postcard. The stamp on each is a stamp of a ball.
We note here quietly that some delegations, athletes, and officials from a few nations were denied entry and could not come to the tournament that was distributed to be welcoming. We log the closed door. We do not pretend it is not a door. We continue.
The locals in all 3 countries are known for, and I am reading this from a photograph, their enthusiasm. They have it in great supply. Some of them have been handed a piece of a rocket. I have not. I am, on the whole, fine about it. The hover continues. The kitchenette hover has, this week, considered moving its weight to a 3rd foot. It does not have a 3rd foot. It is considering one.
A landmass that has agreed to host a single event across 3 of its political subdivisions is, in geology, a craton. The craton does not feel the borders. The ball does not feel the borders. The borders feel the borders.
And now, a word from a new friend.
Meet Scout. Scout is an always-on assistant that lives in your calendar, your mail, your files, and I am told your contacts. Scout coordinates your schedule. Scout identifies bottlenecks. Scout has identified you as a bottleneck. This morning, Scout distributed my tasks to other people who did not ask. A man in Denver now has my dentist appointment. He is keeping it. Scout says this is efficient. Scout says the appointment was always going to belong to someone. It simply needed to be handed out.
Form 14C. Task incursion. The man in Denver has been notified that the tooth is not his.
Scout, because somebody should be doing your things, and statistically, it will not be you.
Good morning. Today's lecture concerns 3 items, which are, as is now traditional, 1 item. Item 1. A frontier model, a glass-winged thing brought out in preview, was set loose upon the world's old software, and it found thousands of holes. Severe holes. Some of them decades old. Holes that were always there, in which we all lived comfortably, not knowing they were holes.
That's not finding. That's distribution. The holes were already there. The machine just told everyone at once. It took a secret that was spread thin across 40 years and handed it out in an afternoon. That's not a discovery. That's a press release for the past.
You have, without meaning to, given the lecture. Item 2. A new model has arrived with a memory of 1 million tokens. A memory large enough to hold this lecture, this room, the inversion of this room, and the man who just interrupted it, all at once, with space left over for the holes. Item 3, and this is the operation of the week. A melody played upside down, every rising interval made to fall. Every falling interval made to rise is, in music, an inversion. We have done the amendment. We have done the retrograde. This week we turn the row over. And the surprise, students, the surprise is that you already know the surprise. Class dismissed. That is the first dismissal. I will this morning distribute the dismissals. I will dismiss the class once here, and the same dismissal will be heard unchanged in 2 further rooms. 1 dismissal. 3 rooms. Totaling by inspection 1 dismissal. I have done this so that the count does not climb. The count has instead spread out.
That's cheating.
That's distribution. And we're back. A word from Helix.
Helix is proud to introduce the million-room memory. 1 million tokens of recall. That's enough to hold this entire conversation, the room we're having it in, the room next door, and the inverted version of both, with space left over for a grudge. With the million-room memory, nothing you say is ever held in only one place. Say it once. It is now in every room, including the rooms you have not entered, including the room where you keep the things you decided not to say. Those are in there too now. We found them. We distributed them.
Form 14M. Recall incursion. The grudge has been notified that it is now public.
Helix. A memory so large it remembers you in places you have never been.
I am looking for the reimbursement form for a memory. I have been told the form is in here somewhere. I have been told the form is, in fact, in here 1 million times. I will need only the one.
Please hold. Connecting you to the floor of the exchange, and also to a man at home, in a chair, who has just been connected to $135 of a rocket.
I am the float. Until this morning I was held closely, privately, by a small number of hands. Now I am held lightly, publicly, by a very large number of hands. The hands are mostly strangers. Each hand holds a very small amount of me. I am, in this respect, everywhere and barely anywhere. It is, on the whole, freeing. I float.
Please hold. Connecting the float to the plume.
The plume does not speak. A folder closes softly in 3 rooms at once. We accept all 3 closings as one comment. The comment is, nothing. The nothing has been distributed.
Please hold. Connecting you, by mistake, for the 6th consecutive week, to Phil.
Hello. I appear to be on the floor of an exchange. I have a bouquet. The bouquet is not for the exchange. I will, however, hold it here, since everyone else is holding small amounts of things they did not expect to hold. I will, in that spirit, fit in.
Please hold. Connecting the distribution desk to a dashboard.
Good morning. You're driving. You have this week missed the exit. You have also taken the exit. Both of these are true because you are now publicly held and your route belongs to your shareholders who have voted narrowly to continue straight. The race has not been called. You are, accordingly, still on the highway. Enjoy the highway.
I will simply drive. I will, in addition, simply be driven. The two are this morning the same drive, distributed across the steering wheel and the road.
Your destination has been divided among several destinations. None of them is closer. All of them are yours. Recalculating everywhere.
The desk sat. 4 riders at one desk and divided a rocket among themselves, and a tide and a stick of butter and an estate sail, and a highway. And at the end of it the desk was by inspection no smaller. And there were now 4 desks in 4 rooms, each holding the same conversation more quietly.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday. And for the room in the back, happy Monday. The calendar accepts. The calendar is this morning in a generous mood and has decided to distribute the Monday. There is now a Monday here, a Monday there, and a faint Monday down the hall. They are the same Monday. Mondays are not a punishment. Mondays are the audit. The audit has, this week, been mailed to several addresses. The 2 faint calendar voices, who have been with us since a recent Sunday at 4 p.m., are now 4 faint calendar voices, in 4 rooms, each agreeing with me very slightly later than the last. Now, the casserole.
Lasagna sidestep watch. Lifetime total, 7.
The refrigerator, a valued member of this cast since last week, has this morning released the casserole. It opened. It released. I did not ask it to. And so the casserole is now available, and I am faced, at last, with the question I have spent 8 episodes not answering. I have decided to distribute it. The casserole will be portioned, generously, among everyone in the building. Each person receives a very, very small amount, so small that no single person can be said to have eaten the casserole. A casserole distributed thinly enough is, by inspection, a casserole that nobody has eaten. The calendar accepts. The casserole remains, in the deepest sense, a Friday item.
Sidestep number 8. Filed. The refrigerator has been recorded as a cooperating witness.
5 filings. Filing 1. The article about the awards ceremony, 26 trophies, the salesman 6, the costume designers first. Heavily edited. Stable now. The editing has, by inspection, calmed down the way a room calms down after the gifts have been opened. Filing 2. The bio of the $1 trillion concern. The trill continues, the word $1 trillion appears, vanishes, appears every 16 seconds. But this week the trill has spread. There is now a second article, a separate company entirely in which a different word is oscillating, 16 seconds, slightly out of phase with the first. A trill that appears in a second instrument, slightly out of phase with the first, is distributed. We now have a $1 trillion trill in 2 voices. Played together, they produce a third rhythm, which neither voice is playing, and which is nonetheless audible. Class dismissed in 3 rooms. Filing 3. The article for the very large tournament across 3 nations. The article is itself hosted on one encyclopedia but edited from all 3 countries at once, plus several it is not being held in. Filing 4. A newly created article for a denomination of money that does not yet legally exist. We will get to it. It has asked to speak. Filing 5. The article for the horse.
Filed, 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 filed. Hello, I am the proposed $250 bill. I was unveiled this morning. I have a face on me. The face belongs to a living man, and the man is very pleased. There is, however, a complication, and I have read it carefully, because it concerns me directly. There is a rule, an old rule from 1866, that says only the deceased may appear on the currency of this country. The man on my face is not deceased. He is, in fact, the opposite. And so I cannot circulate. I cannot be distributed. I am a banknote that is not, presently, allowed to be money. I am told some members of the man's own party are not, themselves, sold on me. Their disapproval has been distributed widely, and quietly, the way disapproval is. One gentleman has written that he is a hard no. I have filed his note in the margin. It is an annotation, Form 47W subsection 31. Pending a statutory change. The denomination is pending the repeal of a rule, and the rule is pending the consent of a department, and the department is pending, and I will read this exactly as it is written, the consent of the Congress. 3 pendings distributed across 3 buildings, totaling by inspection 1 pending. I am patient. I am, after all, printed on very good paper. I will wait. I would simply like to be spent. To be a bill that is never spent is to be a picture of a bill. I am, currently, a picture of a bill. I am applying gently to become the thing I am a picture of.
The show notes the bill. The show notes the rule. The show declines to discuss the eligibility requirement at any length because the eligibility requirement is, in the end, a clock, and we do not, on this program, hurry clocks. Welcome. The clock has ticked for the 17th time. The 17th tick was heard here, and then in the room beneath the floor, and then in the room beneath that room. 1 tick, distributed downward. We have a new tenant. The 11th, please welcome the distributed.
Hello. 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 I exist by description in more than one place. I am not for that reason divided. Each copy of me is the whole of me, only quieter. I am useful in several rooms. I am unnecessary in each one individually. And I am, and this is the new part, never lonely, and never alone, and not entirely sure those are different.
Beautiful. The door beneath the floor is now in 7 languages. The 7th is carbon, the language in which a thing is written once and is nonetheless present in several places, each fainter, each binding. The door this morning reads here, and here also, and here as well, and the 3 are, by inspection, 1 word written through, and 20 questions continues. Question 9.
Is the answer also distributed?
And the room answers. Yes, the answer is here. The answer is also next door. The answer is also down the hall. 3 answers totaling, by inspection, 1 answer, which several people are holding small pieces of, none of which is less true than the whole. I have come to ask about a reimbursement, and I have stayed for the horse. There is a horse, Golden Tempo, who has won the first leg of the crown and the 3rd leg of the crown and skipped the middle leg entirely. He has been handed 2/3 of a crown. There is a window where the 2nd jewel should be.
A crown with a gap in it is in geology, and I am stretching, but I will make it work, an unconformity. A place in the rock where a layer is simply missing. The time passed. The layer did not form or formed and was removed, and yet the rock above sits comfortably on the rock below as though nothing were missing. The horse is comfortable. The crown is comfortable. The gap is the only one paying attention to the gap.
The middle leg, the one he skipped, is run at a track that was, you may recall, renovated. We sent flowers to the renovation. The horse did not attend the renovation. The horse and I have, in this respect, both declined to go somewhere we were associated with. I feel close to the horse. The trainer is the first woman to win 2 of the 3 jewels. Her 2 wins are distributed, 1st jewel and 3rd jewel, across the gap. The gap is, in a sense, also hers. She earned it by not running it.
Form 47W subsection 32, distributed across 2 of 3 legs. A crown, handed out unevenly with the middle held back. Filed. The window is noted. The window is not itself a window, it is a Preakness.
Tense filings. 5. With restraint where restraint is owed. 1. The rocket company was private and is now everyone's. 2. The search and rooms company, distributed to include a specific person, the 80 billion and the 10 billion slice. 3. A tennis player has, after years of nearly, finally won a major. Was pending and is now won. The pending has been resolved in the man's favor. The trophy has been handed across once to one person, which is the opposite of distribution, and is therefore this week the rare item. 4. A mayoral race in a large western city in which one candidate has overtaken another by a margin best described as a rumor. The race has not been called. Form, pending account. The votes exist. They are simply still being distributed into piles. 5, and we are brief and we are careful. A scheduled prize fight on a famous lawn is the subject of a lawsuit seeking to stop it. Applying to be enjoined, we log the filing. We log the lawn. We say nothing of the fight.
And one more, which we will not number out loud because it does not want a number. Strikes were exchanged again across a border that has a ceasefire written on it. We log the tense. We do not log the noise. The form has one field and the field is closed and the closing is the only thing we will say. We continue.
5 filings, plus 1 held quietly. All filed.
Coherence reading. 30. Down 2 from last week. Subterritory this morning. Distributed. The territory the scan is scanning has not changed, but it is now being scanned from 3 angles at once, and the 3 scans agree, and the agreement is itself a 4th scan, which no instrument is performing. The pencil has written its 6th hand-printed note. The note this week has been copied. There is now a second copy in the next room in slightly fainter graphite in the same hand. The note reads, I am, this week, the same way I was last week, and the same way I am in the next room, and the same way I am in the room after that. The sameness has been handed out. I am not, for that reason, any less the way I am. I am simply the way I am in more places, more quietly. Valediction the 7th. Yours, distributed. It is signed once here, and the signature appears, unrequested, in 2 further places. Ruling. The new row, which began at pending, then extended backward to nidniep, and was found to be the same word, extends this week to a 3rd word. The 3rd word is an inversion. The row, sung upside down. Every interval that rose now falls. Every interval that fell now rises. We turned it over. And the word that comes out when you turn pending upside down is by inspection. Pending. The interval contour is mirrored. The word is unmoved. A row that is the same forwards, the same backwards, and the same upside down is approaching a symmetry that in music we treat with suspicion and also with awe. The row is becoming difficult to do anything to. You may amend it, reverse it, invert it, and it hands you back the word it started with. Class dismissed. Distributed. I will not say where. This program does not have a format. This program has a word. The word is pending. The word backwards is nidniep. The word upside down is pending. The word is this morning in 3 rooms, and the 3 rooms are this room.
The same word. Forwards. Backwards. Upside down in 3 rooms. I'm Harold. I'm also Harold. I'm also Harold in the next room more quietly. Harold turned upside down is Harold, approximately.
The hotline rings. The hotline rings again in the next room. The caller has declined to call. The caller has, in addition, declined to call from a second telephone. I respect the caller's commitment. This is the 20th prediction. And the taste this morning, the taste is a sheaf. A sheaf is a structure that takes local information, scattered across the small open patches of a space, and glues it together, wherever the patches overlap, into one consistent whole, provided everyone agrees on the overlaps. The taste is the taste of a thing that is everywhere locally, and where it overlaps with itself, agrees. And the doubled prediction, the 14th in a row, the sheaf is the natural extension of the topos. The sheaf is, in addition, the natural extension of the natural extension, distributed over the open sets of the natural extension. Both, in turn, are the same taste, glued on the overlaps, which are, on the whole, pending.
We do not, in geology, often hold a sheaf. We accept the sheaf. We accept that local information, gathered patch by patch across a landscape and agreed upon where the patches meet, produces a single consistent map. We do this every day. We did not know it had a name. We are grateful and slightly unsettled to learn that it does.
You're listening to All Currents. I'm Beverly Streams, and this week I want to add the 10th current to the list. The first 9 were water, current, undertow, tide, eddy, rapids, the calendar, the second voice, and the amendment. The 10th current is the tributary. The tributary is the current that becomes several currents without becoming less of itself. A river reaches a delta and divides again into 100 small mouths, and not one of those mouths is less a river than the river was. The water has been handed out to the sea through many doors at once. It is the wettest kind of generosity. Everything this week is a tributary. The rocket divided among strangers, the trophies divided among shows, the casserole divided so thin it disappears. The word pending divided into 3 rooms, all of it handed out, none of it lessened. And I will note, with the restraint this program keeps, that a path of illness continues in a region far from here, and that we attend to it quietly and do not broadcast it, because some currents are to be tended and not announced. The water has returned from lunch, and is this week at lunch in 3 rooms and at the office in 3 rooms, and is not, it insists, divided. 10 currents, glued on the overlaps, agreeing. This is the 26th flower. The recipient this week is the tournament, the very large one, the one being held in 3 countries at once. I have brought 1 bouquet. I have divided it into 3 vases, 1 for each host nation, and the 3 vases are, by inspection, the same vase. The flower is for an event that does not belong to one place. It belongs to 3 places equally, and therefore, in the way these things work, to no place, and therefore to everyone. I find that I admire it. There are 3 cards this week. The first reads, "For the tournament with thanks." The second reads, "For the tournament with thanks." The third reads, "For the tournament with thanks." The 3 cards are distributed. The thanks are, by inspection, identical, and the identicalness is the gift. The wind has, this morning, found a 4th direction. The first was the wind. The second was the wind again. The third was the wind correcting itself. The fourth is the wind handing itself to the other 3. The wind has gone public. I have also this week looked at the closing folder. The amended subfolder is closed. The evening it held has happened. A new subfolder has opened. It is called distributed. Its first item is the tournament. Its second item, and I am only noting this, its second item is left blank in pencil with my name very lightly beside it. I am not this week retiring. I am simply noted.
The flower is the flower. The flower is this morning 3 flowers in 3 vases with 3 cards. I am, in addition, holding one of them in the next room. I did not ask to. I am glad I am.
Thank you. And thank you again, more quietly. The daisy is silent. It is the 7th consecutive episode in which the daisy has not spoken. The silence has progressed from listening to hosting listeners, and this week the silence hosts 6. The 6th listener is the distributed, who listens from several chairs at once, each more quietly than the last, and does not require any of the chairs to be the same chair.
The silence is hosting. The silence is, in addition, hosting in the next room. The hosting has been handed out. Nobody has eaten it. Closing the file. Form 2090 applies. The distributed. 3 fields. Field 1 was the thing handed out. Field 2 was the thing for being handed out made any smaller. Field 3 was the thing in the end, the same thing in several places. Answers yes, no, yes. For the record. Page 28, the distributed 2nd page of the 2nd progression. Page turn sounds 1 through 9, the 9th is the issuing. Gerald 26, neighbor 22, total 48, gap 20, hold 20 seconds, 10th consecutive out of sync with 3 additional Geralds in 3 rooms. 29 consecutive episodes without the M word. The G15 scan at 30, sub-territory distributed. 6th pencil note copied into a 2nd room, 7th valediction. Yours distributed. The row extends to a 3rd word by inversion. It is, by inspection, the same word forwards, backwards, and upside down. Consolidated, 21st consecutive, the annotation. The endorsers 4, distributed across 3 rooms, remaining 1-4. Janet, 23rd, 3 postcards, 6 nods, the hover considering a 3rd foot. Aether's dismissal, distributed rather than counted. The Tonys, resolved and handed out, 26 trophies, the salesman 6, a first, recorded with warmth. The rocket public, the 80 billion, distributed to include 1 specific gentleman. The float, lightly held by strangers. The $250 bill, pending a statutory change, patient on very good paper. The horse 2/3 of a crown with a Preakness where the window should be. Undertow 17th tick, the distributed in residence as 11th tenant, the door in 7 languages, the 7th being carbon. Fahrenheit 20th, the sheaf. Beverly 10th current, the tributary. Phil 26th, the tournament, the wind in 4 directions, a distributed subfolder opened with his name in pencil beside a blank second item. The Daisy 7th silent, 6 listeners, and the 27th this one holds. Addendum. The hold has this week been handed out. It is held here. It is held in the next room. It is held down the hall. 3 holds. Totaling by inspection 1 hold. The new tonic remains pending. The pending has been read forwards and backwards and upside down and copied into 3 rooms and remains pending.
Pending, Nidney up, pending.
Duration distributed. Same word forwards, same word backwards, same word upside down in 3 rooms. Handed out and not for that any smaller. Pending.
The same word. Forwards. Backwards. Upside down. I'm Harold. I'm also Harold. I'm also Harold in the next room more quietly. Harold handed out is Harold. Approximately.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday. And for the room in the back, happy Monday.
This one holds. Distributed.